Hello everyone, welcome back to Feldy. Leastways, I think we're on Feldy. It's in the middle of the night. Actually, the time is going a little bit quicker. Farmer Yip is a hard taskmaster. He told us to get out and keep farming even though it's in the middle of the night. Would like to head over to the house and just go to bed. But the reason I started this in the middle of the night is I wanted to share something here real quick. A few previous episodes, maybe the last one, I can't even remember. They all start to run together. We looked at some scripts. Aha, there it is. Yeah, I'm out in a field. I tabbed to a vehicle. Oops, not sure what I'm going in front of or behind. See that over there? We are on the map right here, and we are pointed towards the lighthouse tower over there. And if you recall in a previous episode, we looked at some of the underpinnings for this. We looked at the script that was affixed on it, and I think I commented at the time that I had no idea if it actually worked, because I couldn't recall seeing it. Well, now we have conclusive proof that the light indeed comes on at the dark and indeed rotates. So that's really all I wanted to show here, that it does work. Just looking at it, obviously it's much better to work in here with the lights on. I've done a bunch of work kind of off cam, if you will. Let's see, what do I gotta do to fast forward time? Oh yes, left Alt 3. Alright, oh, I could even change in units. Hey, there's another script in here that I didn't already know that I had. Alright, let me get this moving just a little bit. We'll get us up to early morning, if you will. Oh, some things are already starting to happen. Let me maybe go just get it up to 6 in the morning. Alright, there it is. Our lighthouse has conveniently turned off, and here we sit kind of on a misty morning in good old Feldy, and you can't really tell based on here. Maybe I should go get in this tractor here. I've been planting a few fields, and I'm standing in the middle of them. I basically have planted everything around me, and I've been fertilizing them kind of as I go. So let me hop into this here, crank on the lights, get this up, and yeah, I've planted basically corn. You know, these fields here were at the mouse. This one I started with, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I put a ton of corn around here because when we come over here to this, you'll notice when we hit the biofuel plant, we have a boatload of canola in here. And unbeknownst to me, I did not realize the yields for OSR would be so terrific that we would have so much canola in the house, you know, that we would run out of corn, which is effectively what we've done. We use biofuel on a lot of things, so it's important that we replenish it. So I put in a lot of corn kind of around here. But before going on, or heading up the hill, if you will, there's this field that we put down here, and I've been excited to go plant it down there, and I kind of wanted to share the ad experience on here because it's a brand new field. I made it in an edit, a previous edit that I know I mentioned in a previous episode, and I haven't done anything with it because it wasn't planted at the time. So we just finished harvesting all of our fields. We're kind of in the process now of doing a replant, and I have most of the fields worked, you know, with a cultivator. Still working on that. We'll get to that in a moment. But like I said, I'm coming through here and trying to replant the field so we get ready for next season. Kind of overlooking the kelp beds down to the left. I want to end up in the drink and drive off the hill. Okay, you can kind of see the shadow of the kelp beds over there. Here's the thing. This is going to be a good test. Maybe I'll just set it on speed 1 or 2 and see what it takes to head down over this hill. roads can be a ticklish thing to try to get in right. It's probably way too early to be out here messing around. So make sure I don't end up in the drink. There is another way to access this field, and maybe that's how I need to do it in the future. My lights are just a bummer. You know, lights is one of those things that vastly improve in later versions of the game. Yeah, this road is very rough, heading down in here. Alright, now we're kind of down on the flat, right along the good old seashore. You know, this field I added, I'd be curious if Army ever found these videos. I wonder what he would feel about this addition. I ended up adding, let's see, 1, 2, 3 fields to what he had. Most, or the other 2 fields are kind of, no, I added 4 fields. Yeah, one was kind of in the northeast section of the map, this one was down low, and then there was 2 kind of in the northwest portion of the map that are also, I've had access to one of the fields, you know, that I created. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what Farmer you get, to know whether he'd approve. Alright, let me see, what key do I gotta hit? Is it Y? Is it O? Okay, I think it's O. Now, we're down in the area where the biofuel plant is, so I kind of want to, I was thinking maybe I could put corn in here. You know, it's kind of an interesting shaped field. Not sure what you call it. It's just, it's a small field and it's very hilly. But I don't know. I already have, I was thinking maybe I would put in canola. That we could just have one single canola field this round. You know, just in case with all the corn that we have plans to put in. Oh, hey, sorry to interrupt, but here's another field that I did. I guess you can see it off here in the distance. Can't see it on the map here. But yeah, I put a Feldy above it, kind of in the purple flower foliage that it has above here. And there is a field here. I think the gate is open up here now, so we will be planting it and going to a new section of the map. But before we do that, of course, we're going to be planting down here. Now then, I think I'm gonna just put, let's see, does that regular canola? Yeah, I think this one is OSR. OSR has a bigger yield, so maybe I'll just put that in here. So I just activated it. Let me get rid of this so I can kind of see where I'm going. Alright, I hear him planting. It's a little bit dark. Maybe what I should do is, let me try to get just a little bit more light in here. Alt 3. Let me hear 7 o'clock. Yeah, that gives us a little bit more light. The trouble here is we are on the far western side of the map, basically, and the sun rises in the east, so I think there's a lot of hills that are preventing us from getting the light. Now, I don't know how you guys are, but I always think it's a fun thing in Farming Sim when you get a new field, a place you haven't been before, and get to explore it, get to plant it, get to harvest it, get to experience it. So I'm having fun. Of course I am. Oh, I guess anybody who's downloaded this app, I guess it's not going to be on your version, but you certainly can put it in there. And it's interesting too, you know, we're down in an area that was covered by all these trees. We're kind of going around areas where we've been before. Like we're going right by the shop over here where we sell wool. Just kind of sneak it here out of the way. Let me get a hillside combine. Oh, yep. Yeah, facing off the back, didn't I? Except I didn't get the F. only wrong with this is this version of Farming Sim that didn't, Farming If's texture here has drill rows, and I'm going across those drill rows, but up the hill. Keep it here, so it's just enough ball for the driver. Try to get around this, and then I'm going to try to hire it to do part of it. It's hired help in the earlier versions of Farming Sim weren't as good. Word has it they're still not very good, but we'll see what we can do here. So we can go out the map and do some other things. Terrible job kind of opening it up. I figured I would give it the outer round and then try to hire this. Try to get this corner right, or I'm going to be off the ledge. This ain't too bad. I have no idea if there's a field like this in real life in good old Scotland. Probably not. Good old it's working in here. Alright, how's this thing shaped? Let's come down here. Yeah, I start over at the right. Maybe that's just enough. Okay. We'll see if I can make this. Ooh, that's a little rough on the machinery. Alright, I'm going to see if I can get them going back and forth, kind of up and down the hill. I usually try to choose north, south, east, west for orientation, so I'm going to have a lot of cleanup to do. I always like starting at the small end so he can work out bigger. He seems to keep going. That the hired help seems to like that better. Actually, you know what? That's about perfect. He's got a hill. Let me get the down to where he can start. Try to get as close to zero as I can. Alright, that's good enough. Ooh, there you go, bud. Alright, so we're going to have some cleanup to do here in a little bit. We are planting, so let me head over to, yeah, we don't need you right now. We are going to need to haul him down there, and yes, Russell, he left a comment on one of my videos. This thing is a gas guzzler. But I won't take him down there for the moment, because we'll wait until he's done planting before we attempt to fertilize. Alright, oh yeah, this is on another field that I made. I kind of boot-heeled one in on this hillside over here. We can just look, it's kind of strange shaped, like some of these other fields. Again, I wonder if Farmer Yip would approve. But we're going to get him going on cultivating. Oh yes, on the cultivator, as everyone knows, there is, or maybe you haven't noticed, if there's a numpad, and that's wrong, it's actually the slash. If I hit the slash key on my numpad, it turns this on and off. Field detection. Field detection means that when I run this over here, unlike in real life, the only tillage that's going to happen is inside the actual field, you know, on this area here. It isn't going to, well, it'll kill the grass, but it isn't going to be creating new field. If I toggle this, then it would make new fields, and occasionally we've had to do that. So I like having the mod in there that does it. The problem I was running into is every time you detach the cultivator, or every time you hire the cultivator to do something for you, when it's done, it turns it back on. And it's just kind of how the code works. And the guy that made the mod was kind of working with the Giant's underlying code, and so cleverly figured out a way to toggle it on and off. But I started getting annoyed that every time like I say, whenever it was done hired, whenever it was detached, that it would turn it back on. And the reason I didn't like it is because sometimes I would forget. And if I forgot, you know, it means I would lower it and there'd be a big old hole out of the field, and we just can't have that. You know, of course that's what would happen in real life. I don't know why I care about it in game, but I like keeping the fields, you know, within their borders. And probably part of it is because I can't keep expanding the field just to take care of everything in it, and it would bother me to kind of have a dirt ring around it. I don't know. Many of you probably understand exactly what I'm saying, and others are like, who cares? But I did want to go look at it real quick, and maybe this isn't of interest to anyone here, but it's this one here. It's called Switch Limit to Field, and it's a Lua file in here. And what the guy did, N777B, awesome scripter, has many scripts available back, you know, when he was working on Farming Sim. I think he exited the game. But he recognized that plows and cultivators, there's a load function, there's an update function, draw, and so these are, he's calling all these functions, or rather not replacing, I said that wrong, he's appending them. So with the load feature for the plow, let me come down here, plow, load, so this is the giants function, appended function, so load the plow function and append meaning put this after the load, so do everything in the load section and then run the code that he's written here. And what did he write? He said to tell the function that plow limit to field is true, meaning when you load it up, load the game, it is going to limit it to field just like normal, and ditto with the cultivator and so on. But it still had the problem, so what I wanted to do was add some additional code. So for example, when you detach, and both the plow and the cultivator have a detach, so here's the separate ones here. I located the code. I think I've showed how to find that before. So I left everything here, only in this case here, I chose to totally overwrite these because, you know, I suppose I could have just appended it, but I opted not to. It had, I mean, this is the exact code that was in it. You know, when you detach, it turns limit to field to false on the cultivator. It did it with the plow as well. I want it to remain true when you detach. When the AI is done, you know, it was turning into false. Well, this is the only thing that was doing it here, and I wanted it to stay true, you know, until I toggle the change, you know, which is what the map author did. So I added this gobbledygook down here, if you will, and I did my own code additions down here for the cultivator. Hey, overwrite what they have and use what I have up here. So that's just kind of one little fix that I made. And now I gotta say, it's working like a charm. You know, if you see that it's off now, let me just detach it and I'll get back. I'll click it on again. It is still off. Previously, of course, you know, it would still be on. So why don't I quit yakking and start taking a nip of the field? I'll just kind of zip on around here. Try not to kill too much grass at the edge of the field because I like having it there for aesthetics. Well, what can I say? I think I enjoy tinkering with the game sometimes as much as I enjoy playing it. Boop, killing some grass. This is probably a very strange angle to watch. Get around and not have any skips. You know, once I get my outer round done, you would never do it this way in real life. You would typically do the inside of the field first, then you would do the outside, as the headlands tend to be overworked much of the time. But in here, in order to work properly or happily with the AI workers, I'm going to give them a border so they don't screw it up. And this knob area down here, kind of finish it off, and of course I'm going to have to get around there. I'm going to have to do some cleanup here. Oh, it's taking out some grass. That's probably something else I should fix. When you accidentally scrape the border with your cultivator, more lost realism. But the trouble is I know this grass along the field edge won't regrow. At least I don't think it will. So it's a permanent thing I'm doing here when I take it out. Oops. Back up with the parts I missed. I believe I have to start him at the bottom. Is that what I did last time? I don't think that's what I did. Yeah, given the shape of the field, I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's take a quick trip to the bottom. I'm going to get this hired, and then we're not going to look as he turns around on this very steep hillside over here on the rocks. And now, at least, when he's done hired, or done and no longer moves, I'm not going to have to worry that the switch limit to field thing turned off on me, or that kind of thing. It's going to all be set up the way I want it. And so only will it turn off if I tell it to. Close enough, government work. There we go, hire away. Alright, so he's going to take care of this field. We'll clean him up later, or the edges. He should be happy to continue going. This fella I don't think we'll need for a little while. He's kind of waiting for more biofuel. Oh yes, I cut this field. You can already see it regrowing. Here's some more script work I'm going to need to do if I continue with this map. It's just too streaky in here. What's happening is the windrower is killing the underlying, I guess in this case, we're harvesting feed stuff. It's a red clover. It's killing the red clover, kind of under where it drops a windrow. And I'm not sure why. I think it has something to do with the regrowth. It's set up properly for grass to regrow. When you cut it, windrow it, and pick it up, it'll regrow. But for some reason, it isn't functioning properly, with the red clover. And I don't know why. So at some point, I may need to figure that out. But for the moment, we have a crop here. I've been just hauling it up to the sheep. Actually, we have a boatload of it sitting in the sheep trough. Yeah, 143,000. I may finish it, taking that up. I opted not to cut the other field over here, so even that one is streaked. It's just terrible. That isn't how it should be grown in. Maybe what I could do is pretend I had a crop failure, that I need to rip it out periodically. I think the yield is the same, no matter how it looks, as bad as it looks. But it'd be nice to see that lush, thick foliage. Anyways, I've been hauling that up to the sheep. I could take it down over the hill to turn it into pig feed, cattle feed, one of the two. But, kind of like I've been talking in some previous episodes, it's a lot of work to do that. It did get me a good financial start, but I don't know that I want to continue doing that. My goal here kind of with a lot of this is to experience everything the app has to offer. Now that we've done that, we've pretty well accomplished that goal. Here's my good old windrower sitting here. Alright, let me put this out because we're going to need it at some point to replenish the seeds and oh my goodness. Our fields are growing. Yeah, I should be happy about that, right? And I am. It's just, I know I'm in the middle of planting season. Yeah, I even adjusted this in the map, but evidently it's still growing pretty quick. Oh, he's already stopped. And so let me get him turned around. And I'll see if I can get him going here in the opposite direction. Up. Yeah, I didn't know how well he would fare kind of on this hill here. There he's gonna go and hire. At least this one doesn't use a boatload of fuel, Russell. Almost got a little swale in there too. Huh. It still amazes me how some of these mappers put together a map without using a gem map. Maybe for people listening, it's no big deal to create a realistic looking hill. I don't know that I could do that. All right, now, oh yeah, there was one other change that I made. Let's just go out of game. I'll just describe it. Hopefully that is good enough for the moment. While he's happily planting away. There was one other thing that I did. Do you remember when we were selling livestock kind of at the store that it would give us a sound of cattle? And even when I had hogs in the trailer, it would still have cattle. Whenever you would load or unload, the sound that it would put on it was of cattle. And I remember just remarking at the time it'd be nice to have some hog sounds in there if we could figure out a way to do it. So I think I figured out a way to do it. You know, over in the map, you may recall we already had a pig sound. You know, you can hear them kind of grunting away over on the farm where they are. So I robbed that particular sound. And let me just come in here. I'm in the mods folder. Let's see, was it? Livestock trailer. Here we go. So I stole the pig grunt. I dumped it over here. Here's the cow sound that they were using. And then I said, let's call it up in the mod. So here's the XML file. I don't know how to say that. Joskin Betamax. Joskin. So in here, what it was doing is for the hydraulic sound and the fill sound, it was loading up the sound of the cow. And so anytime you activated the hydraulics, like opening the rear gate of the trailer to let animals in or let animals out, it was going to, of course, give the cow sound. Upon filling, it would give the cow sound. You know, typically, you know, this would be the sound of a hydraulic cylinder. So it's pretty clever how the modder chose to have animal sounds versus hearing the cylinder, you know, that you would hear when you open the rear gate. But it also means that every time you have these two activities going on, this is the only sound that it has to pull from. So, but I dropped a pig sound in here. I totally made this up. And now that you put this in here, the only way it's going to work is if you call it up in the Lewis script. So whatever name I gave it here, I had to adapt, you know, the Lewis script accordingly. So the trailer here, you know, it's kind of over here. It has its own specializations in here, you know, to make it do what it does. And it had this one called, I don't know what that means. He-wa, he-way, whatever that is. It was doing something in here. It's calling, you know, of course, the Lewis script is loaded up here, and it's called a specialization here. Of course, it's all defined by whatever's in this particular Lua file. Maybe he-wa means something in another language. I don't know. But anyway, it didn't have anything. All it had was print, you know, that this specialization's loaded. Frankly, that's kind of unnecessary. It puts it in the log. There's no need to put that in there, but okay. And then it had something down here. I think it was on the lights. It drew something in the help menu for the user. So I mean, this is telling it what to put in there, and of course, it's referencing something, you know, that you're going to see over here in. At least I thought it was referencing something that you would see over here in the mod description file, but maybe I'm mistaken on that. Let me look at that again. Keypad 1. Oh, it's probably gonna. Oh, I see. It's just gonna put the text in straight. I guess that's only gonna work for English, maybe. Yeah. Anywho, this is all that was in here, plus this thing on the specialization. So I figured I could just add something to the he-wa script to take care of the sound stuff. If I didn't do it here, I would have to create a new specialization, pig sound or whatever, and put another specialization down here, and then create my own Lua file, which wouldn't have been hard. but I figured there's not much happening in here. I'll just adapt it so that it also handles pig sounds. Remember, I put the pig sound over here, the pig grunt wave, so it's got to look for this. So in the load, I had to go look for it. So let's look for the file. So it picks it up here, looks for a string. It's already loading the XML file, vehicle, pig sound. And here, when you do this, you got to make sure this is exactly spelled the same as it is over here. You know, it starts vehicle, pig sound to file. It is looking for something here. Of course, vehicle is at the top, and then pig sound is here, file, and then it's going to pick up what it wants is what's in the quotes. And anyway, maybe I don't need to explain the whole script. You can see it here. It's very simple. It takes the file, it gets the file name based on where it's sitting, it creates the sound, and it loads the sound. So we did all that. Told it where it was, create the sound, load the sound, and then it says let's grab the original so we can set up a toggle. So it's long before this is loaded, the fillable sounds have already loaded, the hydraulics have loaded, and so we created what the original was so we could toggle to it, and then I got some other toggle to kind of help me manage it here. When you close the game, you do have to delete the pig sound, you know, or else it'll pop an error. I'm not sure why you have to do that. Someone way smarter than me would have to tell you why. All I know is that it needs to be in there, so I put that in there so we can get rid of our pig sound, you know, when we do it. And then I came down here to update and said, if we're a client, yeah, not that anybody will ever use this, but you don't play sounds on the server, you only play it on client, so you're not using too much resources. If the current fill type is not the same as the previous fill type, meaning now we're no longer on cows, we're on pigs. And if the tip state is closed, you know, you wait till you got to finish prior sounds before introducing new ones, then it's gonna play, you know, if it's fill type pigs, then it's gonna play this sound. And if it's not, it's going to toggle to the other. So there's no input binding, there's no nothing. It is reading what the current fill type is, and if it's pigs, well then it's going to take the sound that we loaded, and it's going to replace the regular fill sound, the regular hydraulic sound, with our sound. And then of course when we go back to cattle, we want to toggle it back, so that's kind of why we save the original up here. You know, so if it's not pigs, if it's cattle, it's going to go back to here. Now this is kind of just a very terrible script. It is set up only for the two, you know, like if we were hauling chickens in this trailer, it wouldn't account for that, although it would play cow sounds on the chickens. That's what would happen. So really, to do this right, we'd have to set up a table and do things differently. But for our purposes in here, the only thing we can haul is pigs and cattle, so it will work just fine. I've already tested it in game, and you hear the grunt of the pigs when you haul them down there. So I'm not going to show that. Maybe at some point later we'll haul some pigs down there, but suffice it to say, assuming I do haul some pigs to market, suffice it to say we will no longer hear cow sounds when we are unloading pigs. Oh, I'm sure I'm not the only crazy one that tinkers with stuff in here like this just to make it a little more realistic bit by bit. Anyway, if I head back, oh my. Okay, here's a problem, folks. And all I will say is, thankfully, my guy didn't end up in the drink. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work in here to get this all squared away. Thank you so much for coming along. Y'all have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.